So with Verdansk being re-released yesterday, there were two things that I wanted to learn about. Number one, the story. What is exactly going on with the story of Verdansk? Because the last thing that we saw with this map is it got completely exploded. That's going to play into today's video. But the other thing that I wanted to learn was about the bunkers. If you don't remember, there were a bunch of Easter eggs on Verdansk as a map. And as it turns out, most of them have already returned, but in a very, very different way. So today on stream, I went around, checked out all of the Easter eggs and all of the bunkers, and I learned some things. And the reason why this started was yesterday, I went and started looking at these bunkers, and I went to bunker number 1. When I went into bunker number 1, it's pretty stereotypical. You open up the door, you go down into the lower area. However, this time the keypad is inactive. And in fact, every single bunker in the game, the keypad is inactive. But this one had something a little bit different. First of all, the floodlight above it was off. There was no light on it whatsoever. We'll come back to that one. But on the wall, on the far side of the wall, there was a calendar flipped to April with the number April 22nd circled with the picture from the destruction of Verdansk, which we just talked about. Now, originally, I thought that maybe this was some sort of hint that the bunkers may be opening on April 22nd. But upon looking at this calendar again, it is a calendar for April 22nd, 2021, which was when the destruction of Verdansk actually happened. So almost a tip of the hat to what happened there. So from here, I started to look at the other bunkers and started to piece together some things. And I also wanted to put together a video to let you guys know what is going on with all of these bunkers and how they used to open on the previous map. So let's start out with the very beginning with not bunker number 1, but bunker number 0. So I built out a map that's going to display all of the Easter eggs, where they are, and how that they were accessed in the original Verdansk map. So starting with bunker number 0, this was a map that was accessible via red access keycards. Now these could be found on dead bodies or within crates, and then you would just open the bunker with that. Now the interesting thing about this one is it's the only bunker with any sort of spray paint on it. And in fact, that is spray paint from the Rebirth Island Makarov Easter egg. So directly tying into Makarov, which is super, super weird, and the only bunker to have that. Also, one of the only bunkers to have a light on the top of it that is not on whatsoever. We will come back to that, but just keep it in mind. So moving over to bunker number 1, this is one that we already looked at. It is located by Boneyard, and this one was accessible via a code, and specifically for the pawn takes pawn Easter egg as one of the steps. Again, the part that made this bunker interesting was number 1, that calendar on the wall. It's, I believe, the only calendar that can be found like this on the entire map. All of the other ones are the same sort of calendars that you find on Nuketown and things like that, as well as the floodlight that is on top of the bunker has no light on. Keep that in mind. Now moving on to bunker number 2, this is located just a little bit north of that, a little closer towards Storage Town. Now this bunker was never open. By the way, looking back at bunker 1, that is the code beside it, also that it was used for the pawn takes pawn Easter egg, in case you were wondering. Now, bunker 2 was never opened. The fascinating thing about this bunker is that there is a floodlight in it, just like we saw with bunker number 1. However, this one has a red backlight behind it, and in fact, the only bunkers that have this kind of reddish floodlight are the bunkers that were never able to be opened. Those are the only ones that have this. All of the bunkers that are located inside have the floodlight, but only the ones that were never opened have that red floodlight. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So the perfect example of the opposite of this is bunker number 3. So once again, a part of the pawn takes pawn Easter egg, and you can see the code that used to be for it there. However, when you go down into this bunker, it has the floodlight, but it is not backlit with red like the ones that were never open. So that's one difference. Also, if you're wondering what that insignia is above the bunkers, that is the symbol for Custovia, the region that Verdansk is a part of. We'll come back to one other thing with that later. Oh yeah, one last thing about this. This bunker has a laptop on the table beside it. There is one other bunker that has this as well. Other than that, pretty straightforward. You still can't open it. None of the key accesses are available. Next few we're going to go through pretty fast. Moving up to bunker 4, this one is located by Dam. When you go to these ones that are red keycard bunkers, you're going to see that they have a red light in the middle that is not a floodlight, and still you are unable to access that keycard slot. Then we have bunker number 5. This one is by military base, kind of by that kind of wide open area with the frozen water. Now, this one, just like bunker number 4, was a red keycard bunker and has the exact same lighting and exact same setup that we saw before. So moving over to the far east, we have bunker number 6. This one's kind of located by quarry way off to the side of the map. This one, once again, red keycard bunker, same red light in the middle, same unable to access it as of yet. Now moving to bunker number 7, just like we saw with bunker number 2, this bunker was never open. You couldn't access it with a key card, you couldn't access it with a code. So just like bunker number 2, we have the red floodlight that is on. I know, super weird. What gets even weirder is the only other bunker that we could never open was bunker number 8, which is located right beside bunker number 7. And once again, this is the only other bunker to have this red floodlight. It is only the ones that were never accessible whatsoever. So moving over to bunker number 9, which is by prison. This one was another red keycard bunker. Now, what's interesting about this one is there was also an alternate exit for this one, which was kind of an escape hatch behind the gulag, which as of right now, if you go to it, is sealed up with a lock. The second last bunker that we have is bunker number 10. This one's located to the south of Park, right by the monument there. When you go in this one, it was a big bunker, a big part of the pawn takes pawn Easter egg, once again having a code. Now, just like the other ones that we could access, but were still underground, they have the floodlight there, but it is not highlighted in red like we saw with the ones that we couldn't access. On top of that, this bunker has no numbers around the top corners of it. The only bunker like that, it was like that in the original Verdansk as well. And this leads us to our final bunker. This is bunker number 11, and this was the bunker that you had to access with an entire Easter egg. You had to go in, these phones would ring, you'd have to get a code off of these phones and then end up creating a code that you could then input into the bunker. Now, I don't know if they will continue and do a very similar thing or the exact same thing like they originally did with bunker 11, or if they're going to add key cards, or if there's going to be other Easter eggs altogether. Speaking of which, the bunkers weren't the only things with codes on this map. So the other parts of Pawn Takes Pawn's Easter egg is, first of all, there were 2 shacks. The first one was by TV station. This one was a bit bigger of a thing, and it was kind of like an Alcatala planning station, if you will. These have button pads that you can interact with, but it says that they are offline. And this one has 2 button pads, one on each side. Again, on the map here, I am including the old codes, but if they come back, they might have a new code. But there was one other shack by prison, which is essentially the same thing. But what's interesting about this is when you get close to this shack, you can actually hear that there are chests inside. So these may actually be opening up sooner than later. We'll get to that in a minute though. We also have the room in the middle of Lumberyard. This is kind of in one of the main farmhouses. This also had a code that went with it as well. I do also want to mention that there was a stadium Easter egg that you needed various key cards as well. But as of right now, stadium isn't open, so I couldn't check that part of the map. So I put together this map so that you guys could easily see all of the old ways of accessing these various bunkers and Easter eggs so that when they go live, we can try these things out right away. But here's the thing, I have a feeling that it might be something a little bit different. With bunker number 0, we have new tags on the side of it, almost telling us that maybe Makarov may somehow be involved. With bunker number 1, we have a calendar leading us till April 22nd and something to do with the destruction of Verdansk. Maybe it's just the tip of the hat, maybe it's something else altogether. And then we have the bunkers that were never accessible, like bunker number 2, that have a red colored floodlight that none of the other bunkers have. These were things that were not involved with the original Verdansk and may lead us to believe that there might be brand new Easter eggs coming to the map. But believe it or not, some of these may be different. If we go and take another closer look at these bunkers, once again, that symbol in the middle that I mentioned before is for Custovia. And on the map, specifically downtown, I found a couple posters that were not there on the original Verdansk that say fighting against terror. Now they have the Custovia icon on them like we talked about before, but the weird part is we don't know exactly how this ties into the story. And in fact, I found a couple other small little Easter eggs and changes to specific story elements on the map that may be very different than the original Verdansk. Now, I'm still trying to piece these together to create a story video on this, so if you want to see that, show me by hitting that like button. But the reason why I bring it up is because when they first revealed Verdansk, they showed a little snippet with some redacted parts that told us that there was going to be intel and secrets, specifically regarding bunkers, that was going to be making their way into the map. Now, I'm guessing it'll be coming starting at Season 3 Reloaded, so I wanted to make this to kind of have a baseline of the bunker Easter eggs and what we have at launch, so we can know what we can use moving forward for the bunker Easter eggs, for any other type of story, and things along those lines. But again, I found some secrets revolved around the story which are completely different than the original Verdansk. So if you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed, have notifications on, hit that like button, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're